Hi, my name is Hannah, also known as Yumidun online, and I made the costume for Noctis Lucis Calum from Final Fantasy 15, including his sword, the Engine Blade. The wig is made out of 2 wigs combined into one for volume, and then styled with mainly heat for a flexible hold. Makeup was used to accentuate his features, as well as skin irregularities such as around his nose and eye bags. Both the jacket and pants are made out of a waxed poly fabric that I got in Japan back in 2016. The buttons were made from scratch. I sculpted a button, created some silicone molds out of it, cold casted them with resin and bronze powder, polished them to activate the metal, and painted with black for a weathered look. The linings, skulls, I stamped myself using stamps I had made from foam scraps, and the drawstring works and can be adjusted for a slimmer or wider waist. The t-shirt was made from scratch for the right color and fit, and skulls made the same way as the lining of the jacket. The pants are made out of 84 individual pieces to accurately recreate his patchwork look, seam by seam, including the small patches around his knees and on the back pockets. The ribbed fabric at the end of the pants are reused from an old hoodie. All the pockets are lined and functional, and the same goes for the jacket. All pockets except the zipper and buckle ones got the same lining as the jacket to match. The raised pieces of the glove is foam sandwiched in between pleather on the top and sturdy cotton on the bottom. This was hand sewn to get the correct shapes to later be inserted into the holes I had pre-made in the glove. Lastly, a red lining was inserted as in the game. The strap around the wrist is from an old belt I got at a second-hand shop, but with the buckle exchanged to match the shoes. I used an old pair of white winter boots for his shoes, and the entire shoes were covered in boot covers to replicate the right seams and parts, and the eyelets were redone for the correct color and size. The feathers are sculpted from Fiedmo leather clay and attached with waxed thread. Everything except the blade and handle was 3D modeled by me in the software Maya to later be 3D printed. I chose this due to the industrial shapes of the sword would do well 3D printed, but also because I'm taught in 3D modeling thanks to my education at a university, and is therefore something I'm very confident in. The blade is made out of balsa wood covered in warbler to have a light weight but still be sturdier. The sword in the game turns on a blue light at night, and this was done using a hiking keyring. The keyring already had the mechanic of turning a knob to turn on the light, so I made the 3D model to make sure to fit the mechanics of the keyring, so I could just turn the knob and the light turns on. The metal mesh in the sword is made out of an IKEA trash can that I cut apart to fit into the circles.
Hi, my name is Amanda, also known as Demu or Birth by Sleep on the internet, and I made a costume for Prompto Argentum from the game Final Fantasy 15. The wig is one originally very poofy wig that I thoroughly flat ironed and removed and moved around wefts on for more poofiness elsewhere or to change direction of the hairs to more suit the style. And I made glued wefts to the front so you can't see the wefts on the base where the swooping upward starts. I used a steamer to force the hairs into the direction of the main spike. For Prompto's makeup, I painted on a natural sunburn and splattered the freckles on top with a toothbrush and bronzer, which gives the freckles an irregular and natural look. Prompto has a lot of redness around his eyes, so that is also a key point in this makeup. His vest is made out of a sturdy jean material. All pockets are lined and fully functional, as well as the vest lining. The skull on the back was painted on by blocking out using a stencil I made and then painted on with fabric color. The polyester lining is hand-dyed red. 9 out of the 11 patches are hand-embroidered and 2 are hand-painted for a more precise look. The patches are attached on with silver and brass studs. I applied diluted black fabric color to all seams, patches, and lining for a more imperfect and worn look. My buttons I made using the same method as Hannah mentioned earlier, but with brass powder instead. The belt buckle and skull chain are also casted in resin. The D-ring that attaches the chain to the pants I made out of clay and spray painted gold. I made more holes and painted the sides red on the belt as well. The tank top is a recycled shirt, and the print is painted on using a mix of a stencil I made in Photoshop and hand painting. The armholes, lower edge lining, and side seams have been altered to fit me better. The gloves were made using a stretched leather. The skull on the side is hand painted on. The false suede has a pattern stitched into it, which I made by sewing over paper that I painted a pattern on. The 2 bracelets are made using real leather. All the stitching is made by hand using a saddle stitch, and all the square studs are made out of clay. The cone studs are also recycled from the shoes. I made the pants out of polyester and dipped it in black dye to give it a more worn look. The shoe details are pleather. I painted the backside of the pleather black so it would look good from all angles. The sole of the shoe is painted red with leather paint for the signature FF15 look.